But thank you all so much. I'm really excited to have you all tune in on this Friday for our Titan Orientation Program Summer Webinar Series for our Arrive and Thrive with our partners from the Academic Advising Center. My name is Isaac Cervantes. I serve as the Assistant Director for Titan Orientation Programs, and I'm super excited. I just want to wish you all the good mornings. Happy Friday. We're so close to the weekend. And I'm also really thrilled and thankful for you all tuning in for what I know will be a great webinar. So the Arrive and Thrive, how to stay on top of your academic game at CSUF. As you all are transitioning in as incoming students, you may have a lot of questions still about how do you stay on top of your academics. And we have the experts in the room here to give you all the tidbits and advice on how to make sure you start and end strong in your first semester at Cal State Fullerton. And this is actually going to be kicking us off for our July webinar series, where our goal is really to provide insight, information, and encouragement for all of our students, especially those who are new and incoming. So congratulations again, New Titans. So before we get started, I just want to share a few Zoom logistics just so everybody knows how to engage within the webinar. We love questions, we love engagement. So if you're tuning in, you'll see on your toggle bar that you have a Q&A section. So at any moment, if you have any questions, we have a team of dedicated academic advisors who are here to answer any questions that you have, or if you have any questions for the hosts based off the information they share, please feel free to answer any questions and we'll be sure to answer those. So without taking up too much time, I'm excited to pass on the Zoom mic over to our hosts with the most, our friends and our colleagues from the Academic Advising Center. So I'll go ahead and pass that on to Dr. Elizabeth Boritz and Shanna Johnson.
Yeah, go to the next slide, please. So, hi, yeah, just want to reiterate what Isaac said. Welcome and congratulations. And we are here to support you, and we know for sure you can have a good year. So I'm Elizabeth Boritz. I am your Assistant Vice President for Student Success and Director of Academic Advisement, which mostly means I lead a team of a few dozen really outstanding people who love students and love helping you. Let's have Shanna introduce herself. She is one of them.
Hi, everyone. I know this is probably not the way you expected your first year to start off, but we are so excited. And even despite how everything is going on, we are here to support you. So please know that use us as a resource even during this time. I was actually a Titan just like you, coming from high school to come here. So I know that feeling of feeling a little jittery or not knowing, but we hope that you will use us as a resource. And so welcome as a future Titan.
Well, since college is starting soon, we are going to start with a quiz, if Isaac will please. There we go. Now, here's the thing. We would never be unfair. We're going to give a quiz that we think you can get the answer right.
Absolutely.
So here we go. Where should you turn if you need help selecting classes, managing a personal issue that is affecting your ability to succeed, finding involvement opportunities, or planning your career? You may try to put your answer into the chat. So A would be, well, you could just talk to your friends.
Not a bad idea.
B, you could ask mom, dad, girlfriend, boyfriend, friend's friend, anyone who attended here once. Oh, like Shanna.
Okay, yep, like me. Okay.
Just rely on yourself. Show that you are independent, for crying out loud.
Right, because I'm out of high school. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or D, I just want to make sure you all heard that. D.
And that's D as in dog, right?
Yes, D as in dog.
Okay.
Seek a trained expert found at SUCCESS.FULLERTON.EDU. You may ponder these, especially ponder D. And if you care to, you could even put your answer in the chat. Shanna, what is your answer?
I don't know. I mean, ask mom and dad. I mean, that's kind of a good, especially people who've already been here, right? They should be very helpful. But, you never know because things change. So maybe it might be wise to do D. I don't know.
Thank you for choosing D. Now, I got to say, Trisha said all of the above, and I'll give her that. D is the answer. D is the one I want you to always remember. The truth is, your friends, of course, they're going to be important in your life. Your family, people, you do need them, but let's be careful. Turn to them for all the kinds of things where they know you best and they could help you the best. But when it comes to the expertise of what is the process, where do I get the form I need? Is it too late to drop this class? Am I in the right class? Was I supposed to do this? What's the deadline? be careful with your friends. Be careful. They're going to often say the thing that would make you feel the best. And secondly, they might not know. They might say what they did. If you have friends and family who attended CSUF in the past, please be careful. Things have changed. Requirements have changed. Processes have changed. So like I said, we appreciate all those people who are going to help you stay well and safe and secure, but we are the experts. Shanna, what else did you want to say about that?
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, and you'll see why we said what we said, because you're right. Things are definitely very different than when I was here. And even in the midst of 2 years from this semester, we've already had different changes. So you could be talking to someone that may not have the same requirements as you, or the rules that you do. So that's why it becomes important just to have us, again, as a resource to help you out.
And I do want to comment on letter C, rely upon yourself, show that you're independent. I'm not going to go with that one very much. I mean, you're already independent. You applied to college, you're moving on in life, you're making goals. Nobody can do that for you. You're going to do that. But being independent isn't something we're going to reward necessarily. Independent means interdependent. Know when you can take care of yourself, or when you take care of yourself by asking for help. So doing everything on your own, never needing someone, that is what I would call a concerning behavior. It can end up making you feel pretty isolated and frustrated. So I think we're ready for the next slide.
Yes, next slide. So as you are here, you will have a team of advisors to help you out. And so I'll start off with the academic advisors. So that would be major and GE. So you have 2 sets of individuals that are going to help you understand your Titan degree audit. So for general education, that will be us in the Academic Advising Center. So what our job is that we help students understand and navigate through it. If you're undeclared, that is also a population that we serve. So you just recently met with us. And then we have an amazing advisor in there who will do major expiration. And that's really for all students who need it. And then your major advisors are the individuals who are the experts within the major. So any questions that you have, then you would direct those to those individuals. And so if you want to talk about internships, or maybe even possible career choices or options within a field, or even if you're just kind of curious about something, major advisors are really a great resource to use.
Okay, and building on that, as you see, we're a community. We made this like a circle. So Shanna was talking about that bottom wedge, which is kind of good at the bottom. It's like the base of everything. Your advisors really are there to support you all the way. You have, let's talk about retention specialists, the light blue wedge, because that's going to be, if you're coming in as a first-time freshman, these people are going to be pretty important for you. Everybody coming in to CSUF has an assigned retention specialist. You might even have 2. Every one of you has an assigned student success center. Normally, I would say, if you could walk through the door to that center, I promise you, you will find what you need. You will walk in, state your need, and one way or another, somebody in your student success team, in your student success center, will help you, or they're going to connect you to the person who can. You don't really have to walk through the door. SUCCESS.FULLERTON.EDU is the link where all of those are listed, the links to connect, where you could put a question in. Retention specialists, they will help the freshmen. All kinds of things go on in your first couple years. So the retention specialist might help you if you're trying to change your major, you're just questioning what to do with your major. They are wizards at managing your AP scores, things like that. If you feel like those didn't show up on your record after several months, or you're wondering if you don't need to take a class because of an AP or a dual enrollment. So they're very good about your incoming transition and those kinds of things. And IB also, thank you, Joseph. Okay, so yes, any kinds of scores you're bringing in or prior college work. So make friends with your retention specialist. If you see an email from them, read it, please. As you move on, you're going to work more with your graduation specialist. They're going to help you at that junior and senior transition. Basically, it's their job to get you graduated when you intend to graduate. So if they send you an email, please read it, because they might be letting you know they're worried. They think there's something missing that you didn't take yet, but they want to keep you on track for your intended graduation date. They're always analyzing lists, looking at who's doing what, how many units everyone's completing, what your grades are, and they just might be reaching out when they want to pull in a group of students that needs extra help, or something's changed on their plan. Meanwhile, you've got careers out there. They're not nearly as far away right now as you think. So you also have a career specialist assigned to you. By having a student success team, it's based in your college, which is tied to your major. If you're undeclared, you have your retention specialist over with the advisors in the Academic Advising Center. We'll talk about that in a minute. So these career specialists know a lot of things you'd like to know. What kinds of jobs did the other students get in your major in the past 10 years, 2 years, 3 years, anything? They also know what you should be doing right now to be building up your resume and being career ready, especially if you have a particular career in mind. You do not want to wait to connect with these people. You will see invitations to different workshops or talks or visits, could be virtual, by different professionals. Do not delay. They're going to help you right now understand why a resume, what is a resume, how do you start building it, and what kind of pathway do you want to be on. So I've talked about all these academic needs, your graduation needs, your course selection needs, your career. Assistant dean in your team is there to help you with everything else. What if you have a housing issue or a personal matter, or very simple things can happen in your life. Somebody needs you to take care of them, and it's suddenly making you feel like you can't be successful. It's taking you away from class or ability to get your work done. Contact the assistant dean and say that to them. Say, I'm in a situation, I'm not so sure I could be successful. Something changed in my home, or I recently had to move, or anything bothering you. They are going to connect you to all the right people. So you're never alone. If you can please remember that word success and find success.fullerton.edu, you will find your team, and I promise you, as long as you reach out to us, we will help you. All right, let's go to the next slide. That is
okay. Yes. So how do you prepare for a virtual fall semester? You're not alone in that. Even our current students are feeling a little uneasy about how does this look, and we kind of abruptly put them into one, right? Come mid-semester. Our transfer students probably feel a little bit this way because they also were abruptly put into a virtual scenario last spring semester. But let me address the high school students that are with us today. You may, it'll feel a little bit different compared to high school. It's definitely a lot more rigorous. Even our transfer students feel that when they're coming from a community college to a university, it's a different scenario. So during this time, take this moment to really kind of learn what it is that's going to help you to be successful, even despite what's going on right now. So, you know, you're going to learn what your routine is going to look like. You're going to learn how to build a good schedule. You're going to learn how to build even good time management, even in this virtual setting, because this is something that you would have had to do anyway, right? But some of the things have kind of been removed from our situations right now. But in all, we still got to manage class time, right? We still got to manage the time we need to study. We still got to manage what's going to work best for us in the days and times we would want to do those things. So this is what this semester is going to be about. It's not going to be anything different. I know it feels different for a lot of us, but it's not going to be anything different. And so this is your time to explore that. So enjoy this journey and take it to heart about what it is that's going to help you to be successful. We're going to encourage you to check your CSUF emails consistently, because that really is the only secure method of communication that we know, that makes sure that we know it's going to you. Because if we use a Gmail or AOL or Yahoo, we don't know who that could be. And under our FERPA guidelines, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, that is by law, we have to make sure that everything we're giving to you about your record is only going to you, right? So that is what that is all about. So if you so that's why you notice we say only go to your CSUF email. That's for financial aid. That is the reason, because by law, we have to follow that. And Titanium and Canvas. Some of you coming from the community college, you might be familiar with Blackboard or something of that nature. This will be like the electronic grade book if your faculty decides, your instructor decides to use it. So this will be a way that your professor will communicate with you. You will submit. I know my son, he's in high school, he gets Remind and they use Google Classroom. You're not going to really have that this time around, right? So if you used any of those methods when you were in high school. So right now, you're going to be on your own figuring it out and staying in connected and staying in the groove of, okay, how often do I need to be able to, how often can I and will I be able to check my email? How often can I get into titanium to check it and make sure, okay? Because this is the way that, that we're going to communicate with you in the classroom setting. And then we know that we know that you are not just a student. We come, any one of us in the Academic Advisement Center, we understand that. A lot of us had jobs, a lot of us were taking care of families or situations in our families. We come from a diverse background. So we know that you as a student, you are not just a student. So we know that, you know, so when you're dealing with your schedule, definitely make sure you're including in those times where you have those commitments, because those are important as well. So don't just make it all about school and neglect everything else, and that's where the balancing is going to come in. And then make sure that you, Dr. Barrett's already mentioned about seeking advising. You have a great team. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go in a little bit later. We highly encourage you to seek advising, because like I said, our campus has changed in a matter of 2 years. Different things that are required for students, as well as policies. We've changed a lot of things, even in policies. And make sure that you take a course for a grade, okay, and a letter grade for credit. I know some people might be coming in with credits, with the CR, with the exception of AP or IB, that's a little bit different, or even some community college coursework coming in with the credit, but really everything should be at a letter grade. So hopefully these little tips here will kind of help you jumpstart your semester and you're feeling excited, because I'm going to learn how to create a balanced schedule. I'm going to learn, it's going to be the journey. I just want you to enjoy the journey and not have so much stress that you have to have it together, because we all had to start this way. So we're here for you to support, and you already know where you can start with the success.fullerton.edu. Next slide.
Yeah, actually, Shannon, and before we, it's okay, keep going, but I also wanted to comment on what Shannon just said about take it for a grade, not credit. You've got to go into this confident. You've all earned top grades before, and you can still do it. Don't be tempted. I know that you're going to take some courses in fields. Some of you think, well, I hate writing. I'm not good at writing. You have to just drop those thoughts. You don't fall into that temptation that maybe you don't want a grade because you think you'll just barely pass. Also, you're going to, if you haven't already learned, you know that in your general education, you do need letter grades in these classes. Also, so let's go to the next slide. And before Shanna jumps right in on it, what I wanted to mention is those two top corners. In the green is Diana, across on the other corner is Lily, and way down at the bottom corner is Angie, Angelica Loera. For those of you in chat, those are the three answering you right now. So if you see those three answering, if anyone else answers your question, I think that's really nice of them, but just know that those aren't advisors from our team. So.
Yes,
so these three are our advisors answering you today.
I'm actually going to do that to introduce them.
I'm sorry.
So that's okay. No, that's great. Because they are definitely a value. We all we couldn't do, like, we definitely do work great as a team together. So now you have visuals, a little bit of visuals, and right, those are who are answering your questions. That's what I was going to say. We're even as right now we have 3 of our team members who are even with us today, including myself. That you will probably visually see, but those are the ones that are addressing you. So you're getting questions from actual advisors, even right now. So like we mentioned before, we are the general education advisors, and so we are the experts here. We talk about academic policies. We help students understand graduation requirements. So there's a lot of things that we do. So we kind of, we actually will sometimes come into your classrooms to talk about general education. So there are just a lot of things that we handle within our office. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And so when it comes to your Titan degree audit, hopefully you will become familiar with, this is one of the tools that we use in the Academic Advisement Center. And so one thing that is why this is very important, you see that picture on the far right? If you want to get there, you need to make sure that your Titan degree audit is updated and correct. So that's what our job is to make sure students can interpret it and understand it, and make sure that they know all the requirements that they need when it comes to general education. Now, major departments will take care of the major portion, but again, we kind of go over it to make sure that you know that there is a major portion, so therefore that way you can get the help that you need. So the key thing I want you to remember is your Titan degree audit, or TDA for short, that we call it sometimes. It is a live document. It is ever evolving. If you drop a class, add a class, change your major, if you do anything to your academic record, it is reflected onto your Titan degree audit. If you transfer courses in from a community college, when you get your AP credits, IB, whatever it is, if you pass a class, do grade forgiveness, anything that you do is going to be recorded on this document. So you always want to make sure that you're pulling up the most current one and that you're referencing the most current one. And a little trick, in case some of you might not know this, in the top left-hand corner of your Titan degree audit is your campus-wide ID. So if you ever need to know what that is, you will always have it on your Titan degree audit. In the top left-hand corner is your CWID campus-wide ID. So again, our hope is that we can get you there to the picture on the right, but you got to use the picture, the picture on the right, but you got to use the picture on the left to make sure that you get there, okay? Because we all want you to have that emblem in the middle on your degree. So use us again, even as a resource. Next slide. So how, go ahead and click through. So here, so you notice here, when it comes to your Titan degree audit, some of you might have accessed your Titan degree audit on that top tab, right there, right, where it says Titan degree audit and planner. You can also access your Titan degree audit when it comes into, if you go into Titan Online and then access it under your student self-service, there's a Titan Online, Titan degree audit link there. And then if you go back up to the top on the far right where it says Academic Advising Student, right? If you click on that tab, then it will also let you know the information about getting your Titan degree audit. If you look at the tabs in here on the far left here where it talks about the wait time, you can see the wait time to see an advisor, and then you can also see who your advisors are in the Academic Advising Student tab. So it's a really helpful tool, okay? So 3 ways you know how to get to your Titan degree audit. So you should never be walking around with an outdated audit, okay? Because now that you know 3 ways to get to your audit. Next slide.
Yeah, and before Shanna goes into this next slide, I'm just going to comment. So that's important, and I'm sure you're going to remember she told you something pretty important. If you don't remember what this meant or how do you get your audit, that's okay. Ask, okay? The AAC is available. We have a virtual front desk. We can always help you find these things if you didn't remember.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you pull up your audit and you click on that, you're going to click down at the bottom where it says you run your audit, but then there's also this feature up at the top. If you go and do one more click, Isaac. It's called the notes. And so one of the things that, and go ahead and go to the next slide, Isaac. One of the things that we told really valuable here on campus is about being transparent. And so what these advising notes are, they usually are recaps of what you discussed with your major advisor. In the Academic Advisement Center, we always do advising notes. So you will always get something from us to indicate what we discussed with you in our session. Major advisors tend to do these as well. So anyone who has access to our system, which we call TitanNet, which is another way for you to make appointments with us, then they will be able to see this, and then also you can access it here on your Titan degree audit. So another feature of this is that not only do we post these notes here, okay, on the system, but they also get emailed to you. So if you ever want to follow up with a question, or you want to follow up about a situation that that I told you I was going to take care of, or say that I told you I was going to get back to you, but you hadn't heard from me yet, or anything like that, you can now reply to that email, and it will say advising note from, and then it'll have that information in there. So that's one way that because we really do care about your success, so that way you can have a conversation with us. The other piece is that advisors are able to even see the notes that so say if you and I have met, then advisor, when I post my note, your major advisor can see those notes and see what we discussed, and vice versa. If they've posted notes, I can see the conversation that we have. So it kind of makes it a very holistic advising experience to some extent, right? But again, because there's anything major related, I'm going to refer you over there. But at least I can have an idea of what was discussed with you and make it according to what may be applicable to GEs. So that's one of the great things that we have here at Cal State Fullerton. Did you want to make a comment, Dr. Barretz?
Sure. Now just think, not only are these helpful, but when you have advising, I would suggest you actually ask your advisor, are you going to place a note on my record, or please place a note? Because you're going to want to write things down, but it's also good to check the note. It'll go into your email inbox. Just remember, this could really help you in the future. What if it's time to graduate and you find out you're missing a course? You could say to yourself, wait a minute, I remember the time I met with my major advisor and they said we were going to make a course substitution. They told me this other class would count. That's when you can go pull up these old notes, bring it over to the graduation unit, and they will correct that and they'll restore your graduation to what it was. So these notes can be very helpful to you. On the flip side, they help us as an institution. What if I hear that kind of claim and no such conversation is on record? That could be an unfortunate outcome, which we really try to avoid. So think of these notes as a very helpful thing for you, and that's why it's important to see advisors somewhat regularly.
Okay, so some of you, with all this information that we just gave you, you might be feeling like, OMG. Some of you might be feeling like, okay, not bad. And some of you are like, I think I'm going to need you to repeat some of these things again. Well, thankfully it's recorded. Okay. But I do want you, go ahead and go to the next slide. The next click. I just want you to take a moment, okay, to kind of take it all in. And if you need to breathe, it's okay. Because it's, you know, it's definitely a new beginning. And you have a resource here, success.fullerton.edu. So you know how to reach us. So we're here. Okay. Even in the midst of everything in summertime, we are still here working throughout the summer. So please feel free to reach us if you have any questions.
All right. And that brings us to, what is it going to take? How are you going to get through this? Let's just start with this. Something that happens to new students in college. I know you've heard a lot about college, especially if you haven't been to any full-time college yet. You might have heard you have to study a lot. Well, that's true, but it's much more about how do you study. And this is something that happens to first-time college students. They will come in and they might say, Shanna, I studied for 6 hours for this exam and I still got a C-. So you may write in your chat, what do you think happened really during those 6 hours? Okay. What causes a 6-hour C-? Nobody has ideas. There we go. It was hard. Yeah, right. So yes, looking at your phone, Kayla, why would you? Yeah, TikTok's pretty great.
So Tricia said distractions, right?
Most definitely. And that first comment, it was a hard, yeah, social media nap. You know what, naps do happen during that 6 hour. Okay, and is it
someone said looking at your phone? I think that's, yep, that's what we love
our phones. I love my phone. Yeah. Okay. So this comment about, yeah, you guys are good. So this comment about cramming, you're right. Doing anything for 6 hours is cramming. Anything, nothing about our physiology, our brains. We are not supposed to do anything for 6 hours. We are supposed to do things for about an hour at a time, take a break, or switch tasks. Meaning you could work on math, but after an hour, switch over, get some reading done for another class, and then get back to your math. Nobody should really push themselves like that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Diana's talking about, it's just overstudying. You want to be very good to yourself. Study at a steady pace. Read your books. When you read, before you put the book away, stop and write yourself 3 test questions about what you just read, and then take 1 minute to write answers to those. And that way you're going to have this little compilation of practice tests that you already made. That's right. What Joseph's saying about you got to revisit your notes. And I'm actually going to talk about that in a minute or two.
Good job.
So now the other thing is, like I said, please be careful and please be good to yourself. You shouldn't ever do anything for 6 hours. It's too long and you will get fatigued. There's actual research on it. The truth is, if you're cramming, you're only going to remember 1 hour's worth of new content. So it might be that last hour you studied, or it might be that first hour, but it's whichever hour you were alert and focused. So you do have a phone, you have things, they make noises. We get, someone liked your Instagram, this and that. You kind of want to check, and that's actually pretty natural, a natural impulse to want to respond when you hear a noise or a ping or anything. So now's the time. Ask the friends and family in your life to help you. Let them know. Just tell them there's 2 hours between 8 o'clock and 10 every night that I am not answering text messages. I am not available. I'm focused. I'm doing one thing. Let them know what times you're in class, and just say, there are times of the day my phone is separate from me. I'm not touching it. I'm not hearing it or anything. because that can really affect your relationships. We all know what we think when we send a text and someone doesn't answer. It doesn't even matter who it is. You will immediately go to, oh man, they're mad at me. So you don't want any misunderstandings in your life. Just let people know you're their help. This is a time to focus. You're going to be, you don't want to end up in these, when you are studying or reading, make it quality time. Don't let it all spill over to a 6-hour anything. I was telling Shanna, it's just like if you're trying to work out, it's way better for you, exercise an hour a day. You don't want to just skip the whole week and then exercise for 6 hours. That wouldn't make
right.
That will not help you.
Yeah, because we talked about how our brain is a muscle. So when just like our muscles in our bodies, where if you work out a long time, right, what happens to your muscles? They get fatigued, right? And it takes a while to rebuild that again. Your brain is the same way. So like one of the things we talked about was, instead of studying for 6 hours, you break it up an hour a day. That's kind of how you'd work out, right? Or maybe 45 minutes every day, right? You would kind of spread your workout, right, to burnout prevention. Yep, to prevent the burnout, because it takes your body a time to recover. So exactly, same thing with your brain. That's why it needs to rejuvenate. That's why you got to get sleep, because your brain rejuvenates best when it gets the rest.
All right, so here we go. Speaking of brains, let's go to the next one, because we're here to tell you have resources, but I would say the most valuable one is this bright mind you are bringing to us. All right, here we go. First question. Isaac, click, please. There we go. All right, let's try this one. Low stress is best for teaching and learning. And Shannon's going to be my answerer. True or false? Low stress is best for teaching and learning.
I wonder what our students
Okay, we'll go with Joseph. He says true. I thank you very much for answering. And Joseph, sir, you are incorrect.
To some degree.
Yeah, don't worry, you can keep trying. Okay, now why is low stress best? I mean, why is it not best for teaching and learning? High stress isn't good for you either, but I want you to please think about your relationship with stress now. This is adulthood, and this college is a great time to learn that stress is your friend and it is your job to manage it. The best thing for you when you are trying to learn new things, when you're trying to be productive, is what we call moderate stress. Stress that isn't hurting you, isn't bad for you, but it's probably strengthening you. Think of driving a car. You don't want to be super low stress. That means you're not even focused. You're not even paying attention. You'll probably get hit by someone. You don't even notice that the light turned green. You're just a little too chill. High stress isn't good for driving either. You'll just clinch and your steering wheel and crash. But moderate stress, you're a little bit afraid for your life, but you're mostly in control. You're mostly just driving properly because you know the speed limit, you know what's around you, you know when to pull over if you need to, and things like that. So please don't let stress be the reason you're not successful. If you're in a class that is causing you stress, we don't want to hear this in our advising center. Yeah, I want to drop the class because it's causing me stress, and I know stress is bad for me. That's not necessarily true. If it's causing you stress, let's find a way. How can you manage the stress, not let the stress manage you? Because this is what you're here to work on. You're not just going to learn book learning. You're going to learn about life skills. Also, think of yourself out there in the job market, a brand new professional in the world. Your employer will say, this can be a very stressful work environment. Could you tell me how you handle stress? You don't want to say to them, oh, yeah, I've been in a lot of stressful situations in college. And what I did is I would just drop the class, or I'll just quit. I won't show. You want to say to this employer, I faced a lot of stress in college and I learned a lot of strategies. I learned to ask for help. I learned to rearrange my schedule. I learned to change my priorities. I learned that sometimes I need to take something off my plate so I could focus on something else right now. I learned to manage my social situation to make sure that I'm alert and at my best in the moments where it matters most. So again, think of this as a job skill and things like that.
Yes.
Let's go to number 2.
Before you go on, I will say, and that's fine, Isaac, you can leave the second question up. I actually was asked that in a lot of interviews that I've been in. I have been asked that question, or we are a high-paced office. So how do you deal with that? Which can also cause stress, right? So again, we're not talking about the stress. So let's make sure we're clear about this, because I can hear people saying, well, Dr. Barrett said that I should be able to do X, Y, and Z, even though I'm stressed. Okay, so let's clear this up a bit. We're not talking about the high stress where your body is physically reacting to it. And that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the everyday, where she said the moderate stress, where it's the things that we do, because college is stressful. It can be, it can feel like as you're trying to juggle all your classes and tests and things like that, but you learn however to deal with that, right? Whether it's through breathing, taking a step back, taking things in small chunks, right? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the situations where it causes, where you are literally causing where you're mentally like maybe not feeling the best, right? So that's not what we're talking about. So we're just talking about, because in those situations, please come and talk to us, because as advisors, we pretty much have heard it all. So if you're feeling those kind of situations, then please come talk to us so that we can give you a resource to get you the help, because we even have a counseling service on campus. So, but we're speaking more about just in general that yes, and as I have said, I've been asked that in many interviews about stress. How do you manage stress, and how do you handle a busy office? That's because we're really busy here. So how do you handle being interrupted a lot and distractions and things like that? So that's a very good point.
Yeah, thanks. And by the way, I think a good place to get that help would be success.fullerton.edu.
Absolutely. That's another.
All right. Okay, since you guys seem really good with chat, I'm gonna, I'll not necessarily pressure Shanna, I'll ask this to all of you. The most effective method for note-taking in class is with pen and pencil. True or false?
Let's see what they say.
Yay, Kayla, she got it. Thank you, guys. It is true. Okay. No, Joseph, thanks for saying that, but the truth is what's going to be best for the student, unless they maybe have some unique needs, like certain disabilities, possibly.
True, that's a fact.
I urge you all, get some notebooks and good pens. Pretend you're sitting in an old-fashioned classroom, even though you're sitting online taking your classes. The reason for this is, well, there's two sides to it. Why is the physical writing with your hand good for you? Because it stimulates your body. In fact, it creates what I would call, yeah, I like the colored pens, that's good. It actually keeps you alert. It almost creates a little bit of stress. You have to sit up, you have to move your hand, you have to focus on what you're doing. But when you use a pen or pencil, you're writing some words bigger than others, and you're making stars and circles and drawing lines to connect words. When you type your notes, we are all so good at typing that it actually happens unconsciously. Your fingers will move and produce the words. You will walk out of that, or not necessarily walk out of your class, you'll log off of your class not remembering a thing you just wrote. You will revisit those notes, not even remembering who typed them. Writing them by hand, I saw the comment earlier that you've got to revisit new knowledge within 24 hours to retain it. That's another reason writing your notes is so good. Within 24 hours, take some time to type up your notes and get them really organized. Like if the lecture was about arguments in favor and against certain kinds of taxes or certain laws, or it could be anything you're learning about in your class. It's a chance to make nice, neat columns, something you'll be able to study later. And also just the act of converting your written notes into thoughtfully typed notes is gonna solidify your knowledge. It's gonna help you remember what you learned. The other reason to write your notes by hand and then retype them, it'll show you where you had gaps. You might have started jotting down a list where the professor said there were 3 major causes leading to World War II. You notice you only have 2 causes. When the start of next class, they say, hey, were there any questions from our last lecture? You'll be that smart one who raises your hand and says, yes, I do have a question. I wrote down 2 causes, but you said there were 3. What was that 3rd one? And everybody will think, wow, they got it. They seem to know exactly what's going on in this class. I urge you, please don't rely on typing notes. You know also what happens when you're typing. You will still get likes and friend invitations and photos popping up. So you really want to separate from that as much as you can. Was Shanna going to comment?
Yeah, I think that it's the motor skills. That's why. So when you're actually doing the handwriting, it's causing your brain to have to focus because it's the motor skills. And so your brain is telling your hand how to go about it. So that's why you're much more engaged in it. It's true with the typing, like some of you, I bet you, I could probably have you look away and just tell you words to type, and you probably could do it. But if I asked you to regurgitate that, you do it with ease, just like that. But if I asked you to regurgitate it, you'd probably be like, oh, I don't know what I really type. But the writing part makes you, because you pay attention to your letters, you pay attention to how you space your words. It's a much more of an effort and intention because it's the motor skills.
All right, Isaac, let's go to the next question. Everybody can try to answer. For most people, the brain is fully developed by age 20 to 25. True or false?
Let's see what we get.
Thank you very much. It is false. You know, we're having more and more knowledge about neuroscience these days, and it looks like we're still growing a brain even as we approach the age of 30. The only reason I'm mentioning this, we'll keep this one short, is just think, we all worry so much about like the nutrition of a growing baby or a child because we want to make sure that, because their bones are going to grow. Will they grow to their fullest height? Will their teeth come in right? They need the right minerals, the right everything. Well, same for you. You're still growing a brain. So I hope you will grow a brain that you're taking very, very good care of. You're giving it sleep. You're feeding it very healthy things. There's certain substances you might be consuming. Those are not going to help you grow your best brain. You're going to need it for many, many decades. This is your chance to grow the healthiest, most powerful brain you can. So please think about that as you make choices about not starving yourself, not skipping meals. When you sit down to read, make sure you've already eaten something healthy, because even if your stomach, you know how to, I've seen a lot of students say, oh, I don't even eat breakfast or lunch. I don't even feel hungry. Okay, your stomach doesn't feel hungry. You've trained your body to skip meals, but your brain is starving and it wants nutrition. So please remember, you are growing and feeding a brain. Let's just go to the next one. Here's a good one. Science has proven that our brains are equipped to manage just one information stream at a time. True or false? Yeah, no hot Cheetos. You know what? Thank you, Trisha and Paulina and anyone who said true. Okay, it is true. And I mean, so many people will try to tell you that they're special and they know how to do two things at a time. They're incorrect. People who think they're texting or viewing their phone while they're learning or while they're listening, they're actually, they're doing something called task switching, which is they're fragmenting both. There are so many studies out there showing that it affects your grades, it affects your actual ability to learn, and it really affects your test-taking skills. Because if all of the learning and writing and reading you do is fragmented, it's back and forth, when you sit down to an exam and you're not allowed to have your device with you, like a phone, to calm you down and to give you breaks, you will kind of choke because it's your first time sitting without that relief, without that comfort. So discipline yourself, learn to put your phone down and just focus. You'll be amazed how productive and how you can be and how analytical you can be if you'll just stay with one task instead of breaking it up. Are you okay, Sharon? Oh, here's a great one. Intelligent people never need to ask for help. True or false? Thank you very much, everyone. It is so false. Not always easy, but I hope you will train yourselves to be comfortable with that. We're here for you. We're just people. So that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Where do you go for all this? Let's go on to our next one. SUCCESS.FULLERTON.EDU. So you all seem to have pretty good knowledge of how to be good to yourself, how to be the best learner you can be, and how to be well. Are you going to do it all the time perfectly? Well, that takes practice and that takes help. So let us help you. Have your ups and downs, and we'll be there to support you. Here's a fun game.
Yep.
Bring up next. Okay, would you rather, number one is, would you rather get a deficiency notice when you're a senior waiting to graduate? Or would you rather be like Edwin and graduate and get flowers? So you may tell us what you would rather. Would you rather get the let's call him, yeah, Flowers. Nayeli is right.
Be
Yes,
like Edwin.
Okay, the truth is Edwin's a real student. What
Mm-hmm.
happened with him is he's not just a real student, he was a pretty great one. He was graduated in 4 years, got admitted to pharmacy school, which was his dream. And guess what? It was January and he got a deficiency notice. That's terrifying. You do not want that. He had it all lined up. He's going to graduate and move on. So Edwin was very smart. He went over to a certain website. Do you know what website that might be, Shanna?
Probably the one we've been talking about, right? SUCCESS.FULLERTON.EDU.
Yes. That is so good. So he went there, he found his graduation specialist and said, I need your help. And she helped him. She did some very fast work, got him dropped from the class he doesn't need, got him added to the class he does need. Everything got restored. He graduated, he got flowers, then he went to grad school. So don't let things get to you. We don't want any of you to get deficiency notices, but if you do, you know exactly where to go running. It's pretty terrifying, and we'll protect you from this if you just do the things we're saying, but use us, let us help you. So we'll go to the next one, just a little reminder. All right, let's try another would you rather. Let's do both photos, yeah. Would you rather go see an advisor and talk about everything you need to do and meet deadlines and get everything taken care of, or be like the woman who seems pretty upset because she just found out she missed it? Thank you, Nayeli. Yes, I would rather see my advisor too. That's a real advisor, by the way. We will tell you it is not a real student because we do not want to portray any of our students as missing it. And you really don't want to get an alert in your email that says you're not able to register because you didn't take care of this first, you didn't click on that, you didn't fulfill a requirement. So keep up on things. Come see us. We're here to help.
And there have been many times where students have possibly maybe have missed something. I will tell you, I really appreciate when a student will say, you know what, Ms. Johnson or Shanna, I know I was supposed to do this, but this is just what happened, versus you trying to tell me why or tell me a reason that I'm trying to hold you back from trying to do something. So we understand, because remember, like I said in the beginning, we know that you're not just a student. We know that there's other things going on in life and things that, you know, so if you just are honest with us and go, look, this is just a situation that happened, and then we can move forward for there. Because again, we're here for a resource. We're here as your resource.
Yeah, and another thing, I heard some students talking, and one of them was saying, my advisor is going to be so mad at me when she sees my grades from last semester. Advisors don't get angry at you. Advisors are not angry that you've had ups and downs, that you might make a mistake, that you have something was hard for you. We're never angry about your performance level or a mistake happened. That's probably you feeling unhappy with yourself, but we're just here to support you. We're going to help you solve it. We're going to help you with a do-over. We're going to help you with whatever it's going to take. Not always an easy solution, but we will still be there for you.
Someone asked, like, are we supposed to see an advisor 3 times a semester? Not necessarily. Some departments do, and some majors do, but not necessarily. If you want to make that your norm to do that with us, and we give the students ability. But no, there is not a rigid rule. I wouldn't say rigid, but there's not like a rule that we have that requires that. It's really at the student's discretion if they want to come and see us.
All right, moving on. This next slide is just a reminder.
Interesting.
This thing about taking notes by hand, obviously we're pretty emphatic about it. If you care to, start searching the web for proper scholarship on it. There's just so many studies of thousands of students, and it might not seem like, why are we not adopting technology in everything we do? Well, that's because our brains aren't necessarily always best for that. So speaking of how our brains like the world to be, I'm going to give you a quick exercise. You don't even need necessarily a pen and paper. You can use your finger and pretend you're writing on your hand, okay? So I'm going to show you an image, or Isaac's going to show you an image. And after 5 seconds, he's going to take it away. So look at it for 5 seconds. Well, keep looking at it. You can do the image again.
Oh, wait, hold on. That was a quick
What happened? Okay, let's take it away. Now, draw that image on your hand or in the air, just using your finger.
Yeah,
And you can tell me in chat if that
Mhm.
was easy or hard.
Yeah, and if you
It better be easy. I hope it was. Let's do another. Isaac's going to show the next one for 5 seconds, and then he'll take it away. We'll go to the slide after.
Okay.
Okay. Try drawing it in the air or on your hand. You could tell me if it was easy or hard. Thank you, Trisha, and everyone. I know it's easy.
We're getting some easies. Okay, good.
Oh, it's easy. Let's do one more. Isaac's going to show it to you for 5 seconds, and then he'll take it away. All right, draw it.
Trisha was like, that's hard.
It's hard, yeah. Okay, this one's hard. Okay, if you thought the third one was hard, why? What was different about it? We can go back to it for a second, actually. Well, Nayeli says it's very detailed, a little more detailed than the others. Hardly more. It is more detailed, but I think there's an even bigger reason. What's another thing? Okay, spacing issue. You're completely right about that.
Mm-hmm. It's bigger.
It's not bigger. That is funny. Joseph thinks it's bigger. It's not. Okay. Thank you, Diana. It's unorganized. Here's, different stuff. Okay. Thank you all for these kinds of comments, because there's my point. By nature, we like structure. We want to be organized. The honest truth. Yes, exactly, Joseph. How your notes look. And that means you need to organize your notes afterwards and straighten them out. Because the thing is, this last image that you're looking at actually doesn't have more stuff in it than the others, and it isn't bigger. It's a little more detailed, I agree, but not much. So just think, managing your life, your notes, your learning, your classes, not everything's going to be structured for you. It is on you to structure it. And when you're in an online environment, I will say, I think you do have a tougher challenge probably than people who just march off to class at the same hour every day. You might be having to structure your day yourself. So please, it's not nerdy, it's not dorky or weird. Treat yourself like a project. Write out a structure for your life, for your day, for the more you could be balanced, organized, straightened out, clean your notes. Doesn't mean they have to be perfect when you start. The more clear-minded you'll be, the better you'll learn, the more you'll remember what you do. And you all know the truth. I mean, even when your car is messy or your room is messy, it's harder to feel calm. So just please remember how important structure is. It's not just a personality issue. It's actually our nature. It's part of how we're made. So, all right. Shannon might want to comment on the next slide. So.
Okay, so hopefully we've kind of engaged you a little bit and you've had a little fun with us, because obviously you are meant to be here. Out of all the students that Cal State Fullerton could have chosen, you were able to come here. So you definitely have what it takes to be successful and to become a Titan and a graduate. So we hope that you will, because you have a brain that is very intelligent, because like I said, you got into Cal State Fullerton. Not everybody's able to do that. You have a great team behind you, fully supportive of you, your student success team. You have your major advisors. You have us fabulous general education advisors. You're already getting a piece of us right now, so you can continue to use us as a resource. And then you have a lot of student services on campus. Hopefully you learned about those during your orientation, right? To learn about the different things. If you haven't did that was step 3. So hopefully you've kind of already done that and learned about some resources that are available. And again, you know how to reach us, success.fullerton.edu.
Next one,
Shannon. Okay, so some of you might have walked in like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, but I hope now you're like, I'm good. Okay, I kind of feel a little bit better now. So I hope you're feeling that way, like, and not like the baby on top. But if you still are feeling like the baby on top, that's okay. We got you. Don't worry. Just come in and talk to us, okay? Come talk to us. You know how to reach us. You know how to, you already have, chatting some of the advisors, so they've hopefully given you some links and things that help you to answer your questions. So we're here to support you, okay? And then after your first semester, I bet a lot of you are going to be like, okay, I got this. Okay, you're still learning, but you're going to feel a little bit better about it. And we hope that that's the goal of today, and that you are feeling a little bit better about starting your first semester.
Yeah, and on top of what Shanna just said, that second photo, you will look back on the times you did want to cry and you did want to curl in a ball, and those are normal and natural. Just don't let them last too long. But you will look back on them and think, gosh, there was actually nothing to be so afraid of. There was nothing, really, we can do this. And by the way, I know you saw this when you did your general ed advising. If you haven't yet, search in the App Store, navigate student, find the Cal State Fullerton one and load it up. That's where people like me, all the advisors, we're going to be loading. Uh-oh, someone said it quits. Okay, we'll have you, I would say talk to IT on that one. But anyway, it's where we're going to be sending you alerts, pretty good ones. Say things like course registration opens tomorrow. Have you checked your holds and make sure they're all cleared right now? Or it might say tomorrow's the last day to drop a class or things like that. So it'll give nice little alerts for you that are fully CSUF based and pretty accurate. All right, we do have a little time for questions. Well, a couple minutes. In case anyone wants
Actually,
that.
really good. If anyone has any questions that weren't necessarily addressed, because our advisors did a great job in answering some of the just questions students had. Someone asked about clearing holds. Can you clarify a little bit more about what do you mean by clearing holds? Because there are all kinds of holds. So what holds are we talking about in particular? Oh, so someone asked, who can check your schedule? That's a great question. We do have a lot of times students who will come in and ask us to say they'll register for classes, and then they'll ask, who can review my schedule. We do that in the general education, in the Academic Advising Center. Again, when it comes to major, though, we can't necessarily tell you if that's the major course you need to do, but and your major advisors can talk about that. But in general, yeah, we do have students that'll come in and say, can you review my schedule? Yes, we could do that. Clarification on the hold. Someone asked about your math and English placement holds. So those holds those are what we call, remember, I don't know if that was mentioned during your advising. We actually reviewed it when we met with our students. Those are informational holds. Those are different than holds. There could be holds that because you need advising. There could be holds because you have a balance due. There could be holds because maybe something's due in the library, you haven't returned it. Or something is due, period, on campus and you haven't returned it. There could be many reasons why there may be preventing you from registering. But those holds, all first-time freshmen have those holds because we want every student to complete their written communication requirement, which is your A2, and your oral communication, which is your A1, and your math. So all of those have to be completed within your first year. So once those are done, then those placement categories should go away. But that's what those are. It's just a placeholder to say, hey, you need to complete those requirements. And hopefully you're enrolled in at least an A1 or A2 as a first-time freshman. Transfer students, that's part of your golden four. So you should not be doing anything related to those classes because you already did that. You couldn't be admitted without those. And I think we have time for one more, Dr. Barretz, or what do you think?
Sure. Joseph gave a good one.
The Title IX, that might be orientation. So let's have them address that one. That's probably a good one because I think that's a useful one across the board for everybody, right? Orientation team.
Absolutely. So you all may have gotten information from Title IX. And so as part of an incoming requirement, you do have to complete a module. So make sure you're checking your email and your portal for information. It's a mandatory module that everybody will have to complete before coming in, and definitely don't ignore that or put it off too late because it could potentially impact future holds for classes that you're enrolled in. So just pay close attention. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us and we can coordinate you with the Title IX office. But that's a good question.
And then someone just asked about the housing, about living in the dorms. I'll reach out to you personally because we're coming toward the end. Or I don't know if anyone can you address that briefly, like in 1 minute?
Anyone has,
what does it look like for living in the dorms, or should we address have them go to housing?
You could, I would definitely suggest, since a lot is, we're pivoting with all of the uncertainty for fall, definitely want to reach out to the housing department. If you have any issues whatsoever about getting in contact, you could always reach out to orientation@Fullerton.EDU, and we'd be happy to connect you with our colleagues in housing.
All right. So can you do the last slide, Isaac? All right. We absolutely believe in you. Thank you so much for having us and coming to join us today. I hope this time was informative and very encouraging.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks. It's been fun, and I guess our time is up.
Okay.
We'll see you guys.
Thank you, everyone. And as you all are tuning out, just want to remind you, connect with us. We are active on social media. So there's both of our handles for orientation and the Academic Advisement Center, as long as our websites and our emails. So like I mentioned, we are doing a series of different engagement opportunities. So make sure you follow us on our social media so you don't miss out for future webinars. This is being recorded, so we'll make sure to upload it to our YouTube channel so you can share or come back to it if you'd like to reference it as you're gearing up when you're getting closer to the semester. So again, thank you to our colleagues and our friends in the Academic Advisement Center, Dr. Boritz and Shanna, thank you so much for your insights. I definitely took some notes for myself and creating structure for myself. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a lovely weekend. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.